Can I just show you the voicemail I received this morning? Hi, we would like to thank you for auditioning for the lead role, but you weren't good enough. So would you be interested in playing the role of a young, impoverished, disenfranchised black boy who discovers basketball in order to get out of the drug-ridden ghetto? Number 2. Girl, I at least deserve number 1. I cannot believe that was the role I was offered, especially considering the movie I auditioned for was Titanic. The iceberg strikes again. It is very common that the roles black actors play are based off of stereotypes of our community. And these roles always focus on the negative aspects of the black experience and fail to acknowledge the good. Black actors lack diverse roles in film, and this has been a standing issue for many decades. However, it has become so normalized that we fail to see its drawbacks. This issue not only affects black actors, but the black community as a whole. So that's why I'm talking to you, the casting directors for Titanic 2, about how we will break the ice about some of the causes and effects for black actors lacking diverse roles in film, and never let go of some solutions in order to bring this movie to its end credits. Unfortunately, we have hit an iceberg and our boat is starting to sink. While the water rises and the string quartet plays our funeral music, let's discuss the 2 main effects causes for this issue. The first of which is a term that has been coined as trauma porn. While I'm not the biggest fan of the phrase, Brittany J., a black writer for the community group known as The Mighty, defined this term as media that showcases a group's pain or trauma for the sake of entertainment. This media takes the form of films, often those that focus on slavery or police brutality, in order to educate about black history while also securing that bag. Black directors are bringing these stories to the big screen in order to knock down notions of white saviorism. And to that I say, hell yes! But we need to acknowledge that. But this doesn't change the fact these are some of the only roles black people are getting. Which brings me to my next cause for this issue, being the stereotypes that exist against black people within the film industry. Growing up, I noticed common roles black actors played, like pimps, gangsters, or angry black women. Like the popular Tyler Perry character Medea. Okay, I hate the stereotype, but I rocked that wig and dress on Halloween. But still, I need to tighten my mask because these stereotypes are infectious and continue to spread amongst my community. It's like COVID or the Black Plague, except the only thing plaguing my community is my own members. Black directors like Tyler Perry or Eddie Murphy often showcase highly stereotyped characters for entertainment purposes. This has been a growing trend among black producers in Hollywood because these films are deemed as profitable within the film industry. These highly stereotyped roles, along with those that focus on black history, have been milked like a cow for the last few decades. And it's starting to become utterly exhausting. Now, I hope the vegans in the room aren't upset that I mentioned a cow in my last point, but there's nothing more American than a good old hamburger. Or the 4th of July. Or men with mullets. Ugh. I'm just saying, I know we're in a pandemic, but that doesn't mean this epidemic can't be solved immediately. Nevertheless, we have to look at the 2 main effects this issue has had. First, we must acknowledge the effect on black actors. NPR conducted an interview with Retta, an actress and former stand-up comedian, with her saying she was often called to play loud, obnoxious roles like a sassy nurse or a sassy receptionist. Playing these stereotyped roles left her with insecurities of herself, and many black actors have experienced similar emotional patterns. Black actors are often forced to play these stereotyped roles because we often come to the crossroad of accepting these roles at the expense of our own self-worth, or failing within the industry at the expense of our empty bank accounts. I gotta tell you, you can only live the ramen noodle thug life for so long. Second, we must acknowledge that only offering black actors roles that exaggerate or exploit their experiences indirectly affects black viewers. According to a 2019 research study from the Scholars Organization, prolonged television exposure caused the self-esteem of white children to increase, while the self-esteem of black children decreased. White actors often play roles that are characterized as heroes while erasing or subordinating other groups as villains, sidekicks, or objects. I'm not saying that having white roles in film is a bad thing. I mean, I love Tom Hanks or Meryl Streep as much as the next guy, but I would also love to see a movie about a black astronaut trying to reach the moon, or a movie about a fierce black fashion magazine editor, or a movie about a struggling single black woman who raises a child on her own, only to realize that she has 3 potential baby daddies. Mamma mia. Here we go again. So, now while you're floating on a door in the icy waters of the Atlantic, that is, for the record, big enough for 2 people, I strongly encourage anyone who wishes to join you on your floating fortress knows how we can prevent black actors from playing into these highly stereotyped roles. An article written in March of 2021 by McKinsey, a company that specializes in strategic management for other businesses, provided a few possible solutions for this issue. One of them being is to ensure representation among on and off-screen talent. A popular example of this being done is Netflix's Representation Matters collection that focuses on telling stories from different ethnical backgrounds. For example, the 2019 Netflix film Over the Moon teaches us about China's traditional harvest festival. The cast and crew for this film were primarily of Chinese descent. Utilizing techniques like this can provide black people with numerous opportunities to tell stories about our culture in a more positive light. Furthermore, we must set aside funding for the creation of more modern black stories. There is a growing demand for movies that focus more on our culture rather than our history, and if these films gain popularity after they are produced, studios can only be affected positively. A prime example was the film Black Panther. This was one of the first instances of black people showcased in a heroic light and was one of the highest profiting films for Marvel Studios according to a 2021 BBC article. These are simple solutions that can be implemented within the film industry, but what can we viewers or ordinary people do? We have access to so much information at the touch of a button, and many directors and studios leave behind a footprint of sorts in their past actions. Before we decide to watch a movie or support a studio, we can research the people involved to ensure they are inclusive and moral. Of course, this is going to take some work and expenses, but I truly believe this could better the film industry for future generations to come. Today, we have discussed the causes, effects, and solutions for black actors lacking diverse roles in film. Hopefully today you have learned that although these stereotypical roles may not be inherently bad, they can leave the black community ship sinking, with its survivors being left to wade in the water. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go prepare for my next audition. My agent thinks this one could really get me far. A young black male who uses his voice to fight injustice and educate his community. Number 1.